Act 1. Exterior, road, day. A barren road covered in snow is in front of us. Some woods on each side of it. Coming up the road is a man on a dog sled. 4 dogs pull the sled. The man and his dogs eventually get up to us and stops. He gets off his sled. He is draped in a large fur coat, his head wrapped in a fur alpaca. He has a brown bag thrown over his shoulder. This is Past Man, 27, African American. Past Man looks at his dogs by the sled and turns to look at something else. We pan over to see a large front yard covered in snow and a decent-sized house, almost a small mansion. The windows are boarded up. Exterior, front yard of house, day. Past Man walks towards the house. We track behind him up to the large house. Up title card. Huntman's Land. Past Man gets up to the door. He knocks 4 times and waits.
1 Massachusetts, 2 Massachusetts, 3 Massachusetts.
Past Man knocks again with 4 precise knocks. He waits. He turns back and sees his 4 dogs now all lying on the snow. He turns back to the door and hears someone moving what can only be large objects away from the door. Finally, the door opens, but just a crack. On the other end of the door is Chester, 64, white, scraggly beard, covered in a large coat and hood. Chester looks a little happy, yet surprised to see Past Man.
Ah, hello, sweet sir.
I'm earlier than normal this month. Apologies.
No apologies. Come in.
Chester moves back and lets Past Man sliver through the door. Interior, Chester's house, day. Past Man walks into a large foyer. There are desks and boxes arranged by the door as a barricade of sorts. A large staircase leads to an upstairs that looks down onto the foyer. Chester shuts the door and pushes part of the barricade back together behind it. As Chester speaks, he has the habit of tapping his front top teeth down on his bottom teeth. He does it almost as a way of putting a period on certain things he says.
May I get you tea? Cinnamon?
No tea today.
Your dogs look strong.
They are.
They are what?
Slight, odd pause.
Strong.
Chester nods. Past Man takes off his pack and lays it on one side of the foyer. He takes out a long, thin sleeve and lays that down as well. He begins to unroll it down across the foyer. We can see different items laced in the fabric that stick out slightly. The items we catch glimpses of are a DVD of the film The Rock, a nail file, a pair of gloves, a red wig, and a blank CD with no case.
How would you rate this month's offerings?
Fair. Not good, but fair.
Appropriate word, Past Man. I believe you actually are the fairest, most even-keeled man I have encountered, whether that be a past man or any man.
Slight pause as Chester clacks his teeth together.
Thank you.
A bump is heard off in a corner of the house upstairs. Past Man turns and looks up towards the noise. Chester laughs a little.
Sorry if that frightened you, my fellow. I must admit I sent out a beacon 2 nights prior to the Siren Hall.
I do not judge.
Chester takes out a large pair of glasses that are held together with what looks like stained Scotch tape and puts them on. He leans over the objects and inspects them.
You have done well these past few weeks.
Some of these were from last time. I can display them better for you.
Sweet, sweet Past Man. Take a compliment when this weary world throws one at you.
Past Man just nods.
Are you sure no tea for you? Will warm your bowels.
I'm fine.
Something for the dogs, maybe.
Chester leans in and oddly whispers in a playful way to Past Man.
Some salted sausage I haven't gotten to you yet? Your dogs will think they have been transported to another world for a moment when they eat it.
You are kind, but we are fine.
Chester looks slightly aggravated. He takes off his glasses.
You may also be the least fun man I have encountered, regardless of you being a past man or not.
Past Man says nothing, just thinks for a moment.
To go along with my even-keeled nature.
Chester thinks, then just blurts out a laugh.
You are a cherry, my friend.
Chester puts his gloved hand on Past Man's shoulder. Past Man looks at the gloved hand as if it is slightly out of the ordinary.
A true cherry, sir.
Chester walks back into the foyer and up the stairs towards the balcony.
Let me get you a trade fare.
Chester, you haven't selected anything.
Chester walks over to the edge of the balcony.
What if I choose you?
Past Man half smiles.
Sadly, I am not for trade.
Chester puts his arms out, extended almost like a film director, looking down on Past Man next to the lineup of trinkets Past Man has laid out on the floor. Chester looks like he is thinking.
I guess we settle for the celluloid disc.
Past Man looks over at the CD and walks over to it and picks it up.
You don't know what's on it, though.
Isn't that half the fun?
Chester comes back down the stairs with a small bag and chopped wood and kindling wrapped up in rope. Chester puts the wood and bag on the floor.
Pellets and some extra timber.
The pellets are enough for trade.
I insist. If you will not take tea or sausage, please take the timber.
Past Man simply nods.
I must ask.
Pause.
Yes?
Can you remove your gloves, please?
The tone changes. Chester scrambles for an answer.
It is quite frigid still in here, Past Man. I haven't warmed up the fire pits yet, just simmering embers.
Slight pause. Past Man says nothing back.
An apt metaphor for last night with my siren.
Slight pause.
Please.
Chester just nods in approval and reaches down and removes his glove. He shows a healthy and normal right hand to Past Man. Past Man simply looks over to his left hand. Chester removes his left glove, revealing a rotting left hand. The index and middle finger are gone, and the rest is a mix of black and green blisters and sores. Past Man turns away slightly, but not because of the sight, but more the smell.
I should have told you. I apologize, Past Man.
Your siren knows?
Pause.
She is also infected. The two of us enjoying our last days rotting into oblivion.
Past Man looks sad for Chester.
A pack of strays came into the house last week, up through the basement, got into the food cellar. I went to shoo away one of them and touched its tail. I did all the protocols, but just stupid and silly and stupid and silly.
Past Man reaches down into the back part of his fur jacket and takes out a thin vial with a light red solution in it and hands it to Chester.
A couple drops of that into a cup of water. Boil the water. Drink it down when it's piping hot. It will ease your pain.
Chester grasps the vial and looks at it, then at Past Man. He is visibly appreciative of the gesture.
A cherry. A tree of cherries in a world of winter.
Not for much longer. Green, returning soon.
Yes, indeed it is.
Past Man gathers up his items and puts them all back into his bag. He picks up the bag and wood that Chester brought down to him.
Past Man.
Yes?
How did you know? Was it my smell?
Past Man looks like he almost doesn't want to answer, so to not offend. Chester drops his head slightly.
Not the rotting, the perfume you put on to cover it.
Slight pause.
And yet, maybe that was the siren's smell.
Past Man half smiles, almost in a sad way. Chester starts to move part of the barricade by the door so Past Man can get out. Past Man drops his bag of pellets and wood and helps Chester move some of the barricade.
Tell your brethren to come by if they need anything in these last days of winter. Hopefully I will suffice to spring. I will give fair trade, maybe even free trade to them.
I will do that.
And please, watch your road back.
I took the long pass way up here. Many things still sleep for the winter, so the long pass is clear.
Ah, yes.
Past Man stops moving parts of the barricade and looks at Chester like he isn't quite getting all the truth.
You meant something else. What?
Chester stops moving items as well and yanks the door open a crack. Wind bursts in through the door, kicking some snow into the house.
I actually hate to gossip. I shouldn't.
Yet you started.
Pause.
The hunt man. Rumored he is now like me. Was doing battle with an elk wolf. Cut its throat, blood sprayed on his eyes as the two locked in battle. He now rots like me. Losing his mind, too, apparently.
Past man nods.
I hope I do not have that strain in me. The feline strain only the body I have heard, not the mind and body.
Your siren brings more than just pleasure, it seems. Also rumors and random claims.
Let us hope that is all it is, friend.
Chester and Past Man share a look, as if to say goodbye. Chester walks away from the door, letting Past Man walk through. Chester watches Past Man walk out into the snow-drenched yard. Exterior, road, day, moments later. Past Man is tying up his wood and bag on the very back of his sled. He walks over to his dogs, as they are all now standing and ready to ride. Past Man looks back over at the large house, then back at his dogs. He gets on the back of the sleigh and flips his rope, and the dogs begin to trot, faster and faster. They are now racing down the road, past a couple more abandoned houses. It starts to snow lightly. Past Man looks up at the sky as the snow hits his face as he rides.